Hey everyone. Good afternoon, maybe. Probably some of you are getting hungry. I promise this will be the last halt until we have a lunch. So a little bit more, please. So I hope you're enjoying UX Sofia so far. I have a little bit of notes. I hope you don't mind. And I know we're in the midst of an exciting day, right? I hope so, at least. And I'm thrilled to add to this excitement day with a panel discussion that we're going to hold. It will be a little different format from what you've seen so far. But before we dive into the serious topic of UX strategy, let's take a moment to celebrate, because I have a birthday. And yeah, what a better way to celebrate with all of you passionate UX professionals than that. But don't worry, I don't bring a cake. But I did brew some beer, by the way. I'm a home brewer. Unfortunately, the security didn't let me sneak that in, so next time, sorry about that. Yeah, now, on to why we are here. Many of us in the UX field often feel sidelined, undervalued, or outright ignored. It's a common story. Design seen as a mere decoration, user research tossed aside, and content expected to patch up where it belongs, exactly perfectly. We know that's not the case, right? So today, we're here to talk about why this happened, and more importantly, how to change it. For those who doesn't know me, I'm Dungyov. Right now, I'm a senior manager for product design at CleverTap. Also, I'm a co-founder and trainer at Figmeister. Also, I train in Softuni, UX practice, and I'm a design lead and partner at agency Hype. I believe designers deserve a seat at the table, not just to make products look good, but to ensure they work as intended and they actually solve a use case for their customers, so they actually bring progress in their life. But, however, UX designers must also understand that if their efforts do not provide the necessary return of investment, they're not worthwhile. The formula is simple. Revenue minus expenses. And all of us should learn to think about that. And I've spent my career learning how to evaluate UX within an organization and ensure it gets the attention it deserves. This is why today I brought a couple of leaders from Bulgaria to speak on that topic. But before that, we've asked all of you to fill one survey, which I'm very happy that you did, actually, at least 1/3 of you. And we have some actually results. Colleagues, can we see the slides, please? It's just one slide, no more. So we asked how much, influence do UX professionals currently have on decision-making in your organizations? We can see the results. They're kind of, I don't think that has to be like that. And we're here today to discuss that, actually. And how much UX-led initiatives affect the return of investment? Most of us think moderately. Why is that? Is that true? Let's delve into those topics. So, by the way, before continuing, I think we don't need the slide anymore. If you have any questions and you want to ask us in real time, you can join the website slido.com, enter hashtag UXSofia, and then you can ask the question. I'll be viewing them in real time, and I will pick the best questions, of course. But additionally, you can upvote them. So if something interests you and you want to be asked, I will do that. So please enter slide.do or slido.com, hashtag UXSofia. So let me introduce our first participant. Our first panelist is Svetlin Nikolaev, the Senior Director of Innovation and UX at Progress. Thank you for accepting. I did some research, I did my homework. I'm gonna say a word and they're gonna correct me if I'm wrong. But Svetlin has over 17 years of experience, have worked with prestigious clients like Coca-Cola, Audi, Tuborg. He's been with Progress since 1998. 20, okay, not 90.
Less.
20?
Yeah.
28.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. Leading innovation projects and developing products like Fiddler everywhere and Telerik UI, which is now Can-Do UI.
Telerik and Can-Do UI, they live separate lives, so yeah.
All right.
Both of them.
Thank you. And Svetlin's dedication to user-centered design and his knack for blending creativity with functionality have made him one of the top 100 most influential IT professionals in Bulgaria. So please, some applause for him. Do you want to say a word or two for you?
After this intro, I'm speechless. You really set the bar high, and I think we'll disappoint. We hope we disappoint with strategies that don't work. What we see, because we are not coming here only to give you good examples. We also have bad examples of things done wrong, and us participating actively in this disaster.
Thank you. So next, we have Daniel Mitev from Ship Cars. Daniel is the design lead at Ship Cars, where he has been instrumenting and driving UX strategies. Thank you.
Thank you.
To enhance the operational efficiency and user satisfaction. He holds a PhD in UX from the Technical University of Sofia, demonstrating his deep commitment and advancing in the field, not just by practicing, but also in theory. His extensive background includes roles such as creative director at Spoton and senior designer at DDB Sofia. Welcome, Daniel. Can you say a word or two for you?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My friend Daniel made a really good introduction. A few things that probably make sense to mention is that I believe that designers as a whole should speak a few languages. Obviously, English is one of them. The other one is business language. I think that we should all know how the things operate, how they work. And basically, this will be my main topic of speaking of today. So, yeah, this will be. Yeah. Thank you.
And our third panelist is Kremena Pehlivanova from KS Group. Welcome. So Kremena is the head of user research and experience at KS Group, a leader of visualization solutions for architecture, design, film, and advertising. With over 12 years of experience, she has driven user centricity at companies like IBM, Telenor, and VMware. Kremena is passionate about empowering UX team and elevating the understanding of UX as a strategic discipline. She shared her expertise through workshops and lectures from various industry events, including the UXCon at Vienna and the UXDX.
Check, check. Okay.
It works. Lovely.
Thanks, Danny. I'm one of the people who hate talking about themselves, so I will not add anything. Thanks a lot for the kind words. I really hope that today's sessions will be very valuable for everyone. We do have a lot of different experiences, a lot of different contexts, and I really hope that everyone will be able to get really useful tips.
Lovely. Thank you. Oh, okay, we have another one. So last but not least, we have Sevil Rahimova from SMU. Please welcome her. Hey, how are you? Good. All right, that's a microphone for you. I had to hold it, but okay, my bad. So Sevil is the VP of product design at SMU, where she has led the design and creative teams in transforming traditional tech practices in human-centered ones. With a background that includes leading product design at Reward Gateway and Daisiness, Sevil has a wealth of experience in managing creative strategies and team collaboration. She has conducted hundreds of usability tests, surveys, and interviews, reinforcing her belief in a data-driven, user-centered approach to design.
It really doesn't sound like me. Thank you.
All right, please take a comfortable seat. Oh, that was not intended to separate women and men, sorry. All right, so thank you for all being here and listening to us. We're gonna tackle two important topics. Probably, if we have the time, there will be two, but most probably just one. And the first one is, how can a UX design earn a seat at the table? Probably a question that has been there for a while. Everybody wonders how to tackle that. And yeah, please, if you have any questions, slido.com, UX Sofia as a hashtag to enter the survey. So I want to start with one important question. This one will be towards all of you, because I really want everybody to give an answer on that end. Sorry for the rude word, but who the fuck are designers to want a seat at the table? Who want to take that first?
After this question, obviously not anyone doesn't want to start. But okay, I will start. In my experience, if you want to have a seat at the table, first of all, you need to be sure that you can provide something more than just saying, hey, I can move a few pixels here and there. I can, for instance, download a theme and create an app or platform or whatever. So you need to believe in yourself, first of all, and then to believe in what you're defending. And in the end, you're defending the thesis that you can provide value. You can add value to a specific product in specific niche or whatever that no one else in the company can provide. And in the second place, of course, you need to be the advocate for the user, which is obviously something that I think that everyone here will agree. You need to be sure that you can defend the real user, not the perspective of the image that the user has in the head of the stakeholders. So you need to really be open to delve into the trenches to find something that will make the difference for the users, not just to provide any basic knowledge for demographics. Demographics or something else. So yeah, basically that's it.
All right, thank you. Do you want to add to that?
I think I have a very unique perspective. When I joined Chaos about a year ago, what was very interesting for me to find out is that the whole product management group and pretty much every QA in the company was actually the user of the product before they joined the company and developed the product.
Okay.
So in order for you to be hired as a product manager of one of our products or as a QA, you have to have some experience with the product. And usually what that means for Chaos, while we are very popular because of our, let's say, Oscar, Emmy Awards for achievements and contributions to cinema, what is our primate target and customer base is architects, product designers, interior designers. So pretty much every PM in Chaos is a former architect. So when I joined, it's very easy to go and say, well, you're not the user. Actually, they are the kind of the user. So I think what's very important in cases, especially when you work in very specialized domains or in contexts where you have to prove yourself, don't just go with the very simple UX value proposition of you're not the user. There are a lot of other things you can contribute, pretty much what you said. You can help with research, you can be a facilitator, you can bring people together, you can validate insights. There's so many things you can do as a UX professional that a lot of other roles are not well trained to do. Especially when it comes to research, I think removing bias from the equation is one of the primary things you can really contribute in your organization. So that's where I would focus my efforts.
That's interesting. That was I was about to ask. Doesn't that create a lot of biases that your colleagues are actually users?
I think, and this is actually a very relevant topic, I recently had a conversation with a very wide group of stakeholders why I believe UX research is a separate function, why designers should not be researchers, because designers, as well as product managers, as well as QAs, we have very well-developed mental models of how the product is supposed to work. And this is, of course, very disconnected from the reality of how the products are actually used. So as UX leaders, as senior folks on your teams trying to really scale UX and drive UX forward, it's very important that you clearly communicate the difference between the different specialized roles within UX, it's not just about design. Design is a big part of that, but there are also a lot of other functions and capabilities and skills that are relevant for the roles and the job and field of UX design.
I agree with that.
Hopefully that makes sense for many people.
All right, who's next?
I'll go then. Okay. Well, I believe it's down to the scale. If you're in a very small company, you would have influence. You would be listened to. If you're the only one designer, who are they going to turn to? They will turn to you. So that's important to note. When we talk about the table, though, we are likely talking about bigger picture, more structure, bigger company, where the design team, whether it's product plus UX or however it's structured, it can have an influence on how the strategy of the company actually flows. I don't believe any designer should be on the table, only if they deserve it. They have to earn it. You as a team have to earn it. I don't think anybody's going to go and give it to you. Like, hey, here you go, take it. You'll have to earn it, you'll have to prove it, and once you've proved it, you'll have to take accountability for the work that you produce. So I think it's, we are here because obviously we are trying. If we are successful, hopefully, not every time, but we are trying to be those models and to really introduce UX in a way in which it actually brings value. And that's important. If you only want to have the voice because you have a discipline and that should be represented, that's wrong. It should be because you're bringing value. That's my 2 cents.
That's so profound. I love it.
And really thanks for this question, because this is bringing me just first day of work as a UX designer. Those were the exact words of my manager, welcoming words. So imagine entering engineering-heavy organization where you're the only designer and people don't know what you're bringing to the table. You don't have a place in the table, actually, because they don't know you. They don't care about UX. They don't care about design. You have to first educate them, first give them the perspective of how you can make them more successful, how you can make the product more successful, and drive the business further. And then they'll respect you, and then they'll grant you a place in the... And they won't grant you, actually. I'll take my words back. You have to earn it every day, again and again.
All right. I just want to do something here. Sorry. Thank you for saying all that, because you just earned a place on my table. But there are actually 2, because we have to be seen. So yeah, this is why there was no place for you to leave the waters. Now you can do it.
We've earned it.
All right.
So we have a place on table, on your table, right?
On my table, at least, yes.
It was
another
easy.
fight.
Answering was one question. I thought it would be hard.
I'm not here to torture you.
I think that's also a very important topic. I think as UX professionals, and I think this is valid for like our personal lives as well, you have to be mindful at which tables you actually sit. Oh. So you have to not only earn a seat at the table, but you have to be, choosy what battles to approach, I would say.
Have you stumbled on bad tables so far?
Absolutely, everyone has.
Can you give an example, please?
I can give tons of examples. I think what is very relevant for the group is when you see a lot of resistance, I think as problem solvers, we are often like very passionate and we want to fix things. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the best path because it can win you supporters, UX advocates, etc. So if you, let's say, have to win the approval of a very senior stakeholder, don't go directly to them. If they're not willing to help you, go to the people that work for them because they're their biggest advocates and the people who can help you advance your UX strategy. And in Chaos, I've definitely used that approach.
And to her note, I also would like to add that another way, another hack for you to win a seat on the table is not to go with, at least for me, it works so far, not to go directly with the solution to something, because then once you're presenting, it sounds like you've done your job. You don't want, you don't want to include anyone in the process, and this is, at least for me, the biggest mistake. Probably the best way to get friends in your, and to be advocate for changing, for changes, is to start early involving people in your idea. So let's say that you want to make a redesign of something, or you want to do a specific research on the topic. It will be, I think it will be better just if you start asking questions, start involving people really, really early in the process, like just go and say, hey, what do you think about this? Does it make sense? Can I do it in a different way? How would you do it? And by doing this, you're basically winning the person that needs to, on your side, winning the person that is making the final decision whether you are doing something or not, because everyone has such a person in their team, everyone has someone on top of them. So if you start engaging them early in the process and start winning them on your side, your chances of doing whatever you want to do it's really high.
Oh yeah, and that's actually what I think also Svetlin mentioned, is that you have to earn it. This way you're earning. This is something that I speak lately a lot of to my designers, is you have to build influence within an organization.
Exactly.
And my way of building influence is actually involving people. I can give a recent example that we have one PM which loves to draw wireframes. And he said, it's just the way I think, man. And my designer was complaining from that, and I said, look, can I give you a different perspective? Why don't you get up on a call with that PM and start to draw those wireframes together? Because always two heads works better than one, and actually you start to becoming a better team because you're thinking together. And this is how we build influence.
Absolutely.
I've always encouraged this, how to say, breaking barriers between functions and roles. Being an influencer is one thing, but relying on people just because you have some certain domain knowledge and you don't understand their area is destined to failure. So you have to know about marketing, business operations, demand generation. You have to be in contact with those people, but you also have to pick their brain and understand their area of expertise, not to the level that you'll be creating the wireframes for the designer, but at least to have some level of connection where you can collaborate actively with those guys.
Lovely.
Yeah, I can also share a recent example. So because historically Chaos has been very technologically led company, UX was really like a shared resource, primarily for marketing purposes, sometimes some support for products like icon design, or some very complex functionality that users were not happy with, UX would get involved. And fast forward to there was a couple of years when there was a big merge, several acquisitions. So by the time I joined, it was a very complex environment. There were 4 UX teams, very inconsistent processes, practices, everything. And they've pretty much tried everything on their own, separate UX teams, trying several different efforts and approaches to get a seat on the table. And when I joined, of course I came in with a lot of ideas and, very passionate, very motivated. And in the initial months, a lot of the time the team would be like, well, this doesn't work because, or well, we've tried this, but it was not happening. So I don't think this is the right way. And my approach to that is, very head first. It might not have worked the last time, but it will work now. And for a very big effort around the unification of our support centers of the different several products, we were engaged to do slight redesign. And I met with the stakeholders and I explained, well, let me facilitate a workshop for you. Let's go through a design thinking exercise together. And they were very resistant at first.
With them?
With them.
Nice.
Involving them, involving IT support, business stakeholders, product managers, project managers, pretty much everyone. And they didn't really understand why I'm trying to do that. And I was like, it will take us 2 or 3 hours. It's not too much of an investment of your time. Let's do it together. And what happened is we got in a room and we spent 2.5 hours going through a design thinking process, a simplified one, of course, not very comprehensive. We used a lot of existing insights from data reports, help tickets, etc., etc., etc. We talked to some of the IT support admins and managers to really understand the internal experience. We then used a lot of the tickets to kind of understand what our users are struggling with. And by the end, everyone was so invested, they were like, well, let's do research. I was like, yes, let's do research. So if you engage them, for some folks, it's very hard to imagine how they can really benefit from particular UX activity. It could be like brainstorming, it could be research, whatever it is. If you show them, if you make them go through the process, it really makes them connect and they can really see what the true value is.
Great example. I have a question for Civil. How would you respond to a CEO who uses UX design as merely a cost rather than an investment?
First of all, it's probably not my CEO. I doubt I have chosen a place where that's the vision for UX. But it is reality. A lot of C-level executives do not understand it. So I agree with everybody here who suggested that you have to educate them first. The way I have done it in the past is, I think maybe retrospectively, I would do UX, I wouldn't tell them. We're not telling them we're doing that, we're just doing it. And then results come in, and you should measure, because in what other way are you going to prove a business person that you have value, they should invest in what you're doing? You have the results first, so you do it undercover. Like, don't go and say, we're going to start doing UX, and they hear, oh, time, money. No, we are fine. You do it. You have at least a couple of examples of when you've improved things. And I remember one of the times my latest CEO in Smule, he said, like, what have we changed? Why are the metrics better than what we did, say, 6 months ago? And then I was like, oh, let me tell you more. Because I already had the leverage of numbers he understands, he cares about, and I'm speaking his language. I didn't go speaking my language. I liked what Daniel said, like, it's a language. It's like thinking about, like in a marriage as well. You can't just demand from your partner to love you. As Michel also said previously, you have to give them something. It's a two-way street. So you show them the examples, they're like, okay, I understand it better than I did yesterday. And then they give you the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, try again. And then if you are consistent and you know what you're doing, you can actually achieve a lot with that trust that was given you, but really through proving the metrics first. So that's a way to go in. And don't go full-blown, like every UX gun in the shop and like start doing everything that you've heard about, you've done somewhere else. Start small. For example, we didn't start with discovery at first because they were running projects. We said, we'll only do usability testing because there were already, there were ideas that were already being developed, and okay, we can just grab what was there and then at least make the best out of it through a usability test. And then we lean into, okay, we can do much more if we are early in the process. But it was on a step-by-step, iterative way, not big theory, because it can be very scary to executives. Or even to, for example, I don't know if anybody here, but some designers would report into PMs, like to a head of product or to a product manager, sometimes to engineering leaders. So you are talking about even your closest people in the organization that you will have to do that work with. So start small.
Lovely.
I can build on top of this. I really like this start small, have meaningful milestones, and also measure. Measure and report and improve, iterate on this. And I can give an example of creating a product. It's started back in really 5 years ago. So we started with grand vision. with a horizon of 10 years, where we want to be. Something bold, something that we can show to the business owners, and they'll be ecstatic and fund us. And it really worked. The thing that we didn't count for was that this grand vision, it would be delivered in the next 5, 7 years. And business needs results now, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. So we didn't have this stage approach to product discovery, to scaling the product. And basically what happened, it turned out that we've exhausted this runway of investment, and we didn't deliver any meaningful from the perspective of the business results. So what we did was pivot and cut the solution in parts and deliver it throughout the years up until now. And we still have the grand vision in mind, but we also have customers, paying customers, and we have successfully created a product that delivers value today, not in horizon of 5 years. So keep that in mind when working with every stakeholder. They want the grand vision to be there, but they also want results now.
And to add to that, I want to ask you, when a UX initiative fails for some reason, who is accountable?
It's interesting. Depending who you ask, probably you'll get different answers.
Well, I ask you.
If you ask me, all of us failed. The business failed. The UX and the supporting teams and functions also failed. It's not just that you are not providing the most the greatest experience that there is, or you are not connected with your users. It's something that misses the point. And this is I'm not steering the responsibility out of the UX, but it's much larger. So if UX fails, something else also is probably missing from the picture.
Yeah, but who really takes the blame?
UX, definitely.
Can I ask you a question? Who do you think, do you think that even if it's possible, UX initiative to fail, and I'm not speaking about, doing an interview and then you're saying what you're wanting to hear, do you think that actually it's possible UX initiative to fail? Or, because probably try to answer.
Yeah, it can. They do. We test, and if we are wrong, then it fails, right?
On that point, I would like to oppose you and to say, because you tried something, it failed, then you learn that
that's a learning experience, not a failure.
It's not a failure. You learn that this particular solution doesn't work. Maybe you need to invest more and more. And to try to answer your question, I don't think that actually it can fail. Of course, if you're asking the wrong questions on the interview, obviously it will fail, but this is like a mechanical failure. It's not in its sense of fail.
I have a different opinion on this topic.
All right.
Yes, absolutely. Each fail is an opportunity to learn, but that's the internal perspective. From the external perspective, what the business sees is you did not deliver, results. And I'm not talking about usability testing or any type of small effort work that's being delivered. We're talking about really big, UX-led initiatives that are supposed to be delivering real value to the business. To go back to what I think Raya said earlier, it's very important that you take accountability. When there is a product bug, we don't get blamed for it. And if UX fails, well, we should take accountability, and it is our fault. And we need to, of course, communicate accordingly. We need to, take our lessons. We need to share them with the group. But it is very important that we take the blame, but that can really help us be better in the future.
I love that. I want to add something to that, actually. And there's a book that I'm going to recommend from Jocko Willink. It's called Extreme Ownership. And if you want to be heard, we actually have to take responsibility, even if not that something failed because of us, but just because we show that we take responsibility. And this is how we're going to be heard. And by saying that, Seville, can a business exist and be successful without UX designers?
Maybe, but I don't know such business.
I
can
can give
think
an
of one.
example. I can give an example. I think that to answer your question, it can be successful, yes, in terms of profitable, but it won't be a good business, right? It will be, it won't be a good product. Sorry. Example for this is like obviously there are a lot of examples, but the one that comes to my mind is Craigslist. Currently, it's probably in top 20 in most visited website. Craigslist started back in the 90s, where only a handful of people knew what UX is. One of them is on my right. The other one, Mr. Rice, is somewhere here.
Just a second. Does everybody know what Craigslist is? Can you raise your hand?
Yeah.
Okay, for those who know, please check it.
Yeah. Basically, it's a website. It's a platform which is built. I think it's built only on HTML and CSS. I'm not sure about the CSS. It's a plain a plain web page with just links and categories, and it's organized in a very good way. But it was made in the 90s, and since then it hasn't changed. It changed super slightly, like just a few colors here and there. And obviously, it's a super profitable business. It gets the job done. But it does it in, I don't know, in not a good, aesthetically pleasing way. I know that, for instance, the registration process, the replying and negotiation processes is not that good, but it does the job done. And
I would ask a question for the people who might think, okay, we're doing pretty fine as a business, we're making money, we don't need to invest in something that we don't know whether it will pay off. But on the other hand, is the question, but wouldn't you take the chance to earn more money? Because UX can likely help you get more users, get them stickier, convert, and so forth. So it's not about can you do without UX. Yes, there must be companies, as I said, I can't point to one specifically. Craigslist was a good example. But it's more about can UX make it more successful? It's the question you should be asking those companies if you want the place there.
Can I ask you, how do you ask those questions? How does it happen? Can you give an example, please?
Well, as we spoke, understanding the business metrics and maybe pick up a flow that someone told you from analytics, we actually have a 70% drop. Well, why don't you give me a chance for that drop to become from 70, 50? That 20% will equal some number somewhere else, right? So that's how you go about that conversation.
But how are you going to reach those C-level monsters to actually let them hear you, let them give you the opportunity? Like, how are you achieving that?
You're probably building up towards it. You don't just go and have that conversation. You're probably building relationships and you're having conversation and you're having the examples to then be able to say that. Sometimes it's a demand, like the executive would come and say, we need to be able to hit like 20% increase in whatever creation level, for example. So then that's a question to you anyway. So you just respond to the question to you, how do we do that? Like, how do we allow our users to create more? So sometimes it comes the other way around because of a demand, like for that metric to be better. But you can turn it around, you can play around with it.
And that's the nice perspective. You're playing nice with your CEOs and business owners. You can also create fear for them. Because you can ask your CEO, you can ask them directly, do you imagine that you are working with in a blue ocean and there's no competition? Nobody is doing anything that is related with your client, with this product and with this value prop. And if the answer is yes, then you don't need me. It would be just pure waste of money from business perspective to add something that you've already owning on 100%. But otherwise, and I think that majority of the companies are working in extremely competitive space, UX is not only differentiator, it's something that can put you on the map or remove you from it.
That was top.
All right. A question from our survey. How do you know it is time to adjust your UX strategy?
obviously by following the metrics, right? Because design and sometimes UX design is subjective. Sometimes you can't really be sure whether changing the position of the button will provide you with any improvements, let's say. So understanding, and I will go again to the business, understanding how the business owners think, how product owners think is really valuable for a UX specialist, so that you know that when something is doing okay, you know that it can be done a little bit better, and then, as we previously said, you try to either engage them early and say, hey, we think to do that. What do you think? Can you help us? Or you just do something and then it goes to them and say, hey, you can. We did that. Imagine what we can do with a little bit more resources. So this is one thing to really anticipate and expect something to improve. This is one way to try to make things better. Probably this will be the main thing, at least.
I have an additional thing to add. Can you give an advice to the public what they can do to actually start understanding product owners and business owners?
Obviously, it will be to spend more time with them, to try to understand what they're looking for on the meetings, because on the meetings, the most people have pattern of doing meetings, right? They start with giving you, for instance, you have a presentation, you do the presentation, but then they start asking a specific set of questions, and then by learning this process, you need to do it a couple of times. It won't happen with a snap of a finger. It needs to happen over time. You need to win your place on the table by listening to them, by hearing what's important metrics for them. So let's say that the registration is important metric for them. You need to take it, to embrace that and to imply on it.
All right, thank you.
Can I add to this question, because
Yes,
I think
please.
it's a very important one, and I'll touch upon this topic pretty much throughout my whole presentation later.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I think it's very important that we differentiate UX strategy and UX tactics and how you advance your UX strategy. UX strategy is not something you can and should easily change when something is not working. It usually is your approach to the execution that is not working, because honestly, I believe most of us are very capable in defining a good UX strategy, because we're well educated, we're well informed. If we are at least relatively connected to the business, we can define a pretty good UX strategy. It's about how we try to implement it, how we try to advance it, and usually the biggest issue that I see in UX teams and UX professionals, doing in their specific context is they try to skip maturity stages. And I'll talk in detail about this during my presentation. You cannot go from absent UX or disorganized UX to user-driven experience in 1 year or 2 years or even 3 years. So you have to be very mindful about how you advance your strategy. You don't need to change it if something is not working, if users are not users, but if your stakeholders are not perceptive of it and they're not, engaged. Change your tactics, change your approach, but don't change your strategy, because this will refer to more issues, because you show that you lack confidence in the initial strategy you formatted, which is not good. And it will make your stakeholders trust you even less if you're changing your UX strategy every 3 months when something fails.
And it's creating, I can add on top of this, that changes create a pendulum effect. You're going extremes. Every time you change something, you're missing the point where it works, and it's going into the opposite direction where it doesn't. So you should be very conscious of the path that you are envisioning.
And this can also have very negative impact on your team.
Yeah, motivation, yeah, everything struggles.
Oh yeah, Civil. What's the common mistake in your experience that designers do to actually fail at being heard?
I think they care about their craft and they forget about the fact that their craft is a piece of a bigger puzzle. So if they can make the connection between how their work influences everything else around it, so from a product perspective, from engineering, then they would actually produce something together with their team that is of value. What I've seen them struggle with, first of all, when they go into a meeting where they have to, for example, present their design to people that are no designers, they use they explain it the same way. And they don't build the context, they don't speak it in a way in which can be understandable for the other side. I'm going back to what Michel was saying. You need to know who is in the room, who you're talking to. Don't speak to them like they're a designer, they don't get it. Like, speak to them the way they would understand it. That is the biggest mistake they make. In my opinion, they have great ideas, and sometimes I see great ideas go absolutely flat because the executive is stuck on something else on that presentation that has no connection to what they were trying to say, but because they were using language, terminology that is completely alien to that person, there you go. You see them switch off, like, gone. Okay, no point, like, don't go further. But I think this is really it. For me, 50% of your design work, UX work, is communicating it the right way. It's not just doing it, it's communicating it. So spend time there.
I cannot more than agree with that. All right, let's speak about something different. How do you prove, Svetlin, the return of investment? What KPIs do you actually measure? Can you give us some examples of something that you did?
So speaking of KPIs, it's really interesting when you create something in a control environment. If you're creating your own KPIs and you're working in the domain of UX, is some limiting. You're creating some limiting factor. What we struggled during the years is that we have disconnected KPIs from each individual function, so silos, different silos for different roles, and also on different levels, KPIs don't connect. They should, and they look like they connect, but they don't. So speaking from the personal OKRs that every team member has to the CEO level staff, there should be a transparency, and you should, I'm just connecting with the previous question. If you speak to the person and you understand his needs, but you don't know his metrics, how he's measured, your boss, or the boss above your boss, what's important for them, and how they understand failure and success. It's very easy to fall into this creator's pitfall that you are staying in your safe zone. You're creating your OKRs and the key results that you can achieve, and you achieve it, and it doesn't matter. So we have a lot of those. We've achieved hundreds of key results, and it doesn't move the needle for the user or for the business, and it doesn't make sense. My suggestion for you is to take the holistic view of your organization. What matters to the overall landscape of roles and levels, and then set up the structure for your results, and not keep it only on the reporting level. If you are just reporting on some high-level dashboard for somebody to show a presentation to business users, it doesn't really make sense. It should be something that you are driving, you are accountable, you are achieving, and it moves the product or the initiative that you are part of further.
All right, that's great. That's so profound, actually. Since my tummy is starting to make noises, probably some of yours as well, one last thing to each one of you. What's the one advice that you would give to everybody here to earn some respect in their organization if they are lacking it.
Choke them.
Can you say that to the microphone, please?
Choke them.
Show them. I can give probably the straightest one answer, and it will be to whenever you have a job to be done, a task, don't go straight forward to the solution. If you need to create a simple UI, don't just put like a few buttons here and there, fields. Try really to understand how, obviously you can have this option, you can create it as one proposal and then go into another proposal where you can really open your imagination, creativity, and start thinking how you can contribute to building a really good user experience. And for me, really good user experiences when the user is doing something and they don't think about it. Like they don't think what will happen if I click this or that. So my advice will be when you have a specific task, make your option one super straightforward that will get the job done, and then be creative. Listen what the others say, try to predict how this is going to be used, do a research, do a social listening, do everything you can do on your free time or on the time that you have left for creating a better solution that it will work even better than the one that you've already created. And that's how you win a place on the table. Not place, but a seat on the table.
Thanks for that.
My quick advice is, whoever you're working with, for example, a PM engineering team, make them look good. Make them look good. You have to earn their respect first. If you do that, they would look to you to continue to help them, to continue to grow together. So you're not doing it on your own, but if you make especially your PM, are there any PMs here? Oh,
Are they PMs?
What a mess. They would have got like the clue of their lives. But make your PM look good. Try that.
Just a very interesting conversation I had with my boss recently. We were talking about UX QA, and I was explaining to him that we are struggling with a particular team, and the advice he gave me was the exact opposite of this, and he told me, get on a call with devs and ask them to show you what they have implemented. They don't like looking stupid. So make them look stupid. They'll do what they need to do. No, but to go back on the topic, I would give, if I have to give one advice, it would be to be contextually aware, be present, don't look at the past, what has not been executed, what was not done well, etc. Know your audience, know the business. If you're aware of what's happening in the company, in your environment, you can be adequate.
I love that.
And yeah, to end this for you, show results, not skills. Nobody cares about your skills if there are no results. And communicate and collaborate with others, be it your customers, be it your business owners.
So insightful. And something from me, I would say, if sometimes you're working on a plan that you do not agree with, just do the job. This way you're going to earn respect, and next time when you have something to say, you're going to be heard. Just sometimes just do the job, even if you don't agree. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening to us, and thank you, Siviu, Crimena, Dani, and Svetlin for accepting my invite. I love how the talk went, and see you next time.
Thank you, Dani.